family and friends of Seward United Methodist Church. It's Reverend Mary Kay with another midweek update for July 13th. Hope all of you are doing well. Certainly had a beautiful day on Sunday, just too hot for the pool party and picnic out at Terry and Chuck Siebert's. It was a delightful time. I enjoyed visiting with the folks that were there. Hope y'all are having a good week this week. I enjoy seeing photos on Facebook of the places y'all are traveling. Hope everyone is having fun. For midweek update this week, I thought I would share some bonus material from the Gospel According to Dolly Parton series. There's more than enough material than I will be able to use in the sermon series itself, but some of it, really does speak powerfully to who Ms. Parton is and the way faith shapes her life. And one of those things is the fascinating story of her relationship with Porter Wagner. Porter Wagner was a country music singer and had his own television show in the 1960s, early 1970s. And he hired Dolly Parton to be a part of that show. And that was kind of the thing. Back in that day, it was mainly men on the show, but they would bring in one attractive girl singer and would spotlight her. And it happened to be Dolly Parton for about 7 years. She first signed a contract for about 5 years and then extended it for another 7. As I said in my sermon on Sunday, things went pretty well to start with. Dolly Parton was still very new to the business and was able to learn a lot from Porter Wagner, and he really helped her get some recognition. They did a series of duets together that received Grammys, and so it was good for both of them. But eventually, as her fame rose and his declined, the relationship became toxic, is probably the best way to describe it without having been in the relationship ourselves. It became toxic. And Dolly has talked about the relationship over the years. Sarah Smarsh, in her book, She Come By It Natural, talks a bit about the Parton-Wagner relationship as they collaborated professionally. And eventually, Dolly walked away from that show. And so she, in fact, she wrote, "I Will Always Love You," for Porter Wagner as she was leaving the show. And so she left, and then Porter Wagner got really mad. And according to Smarsh, he had been paying Dolly $30 a week. Yes, $30 a week to be on his show. And when she walked out, he decided to sue her for a percentage of all her earnings for the rest of her life. Completely unreasonable. But Dolly decided it was wiser to settle out of court. And so they settled out of court. And the theory is that it was for $1 million, which was a heck of a lot of money back in the early 1970s. And she did not have that kind of money on hand at the time, and so paid it off bit by bit over time. And, Porter Wagner continued to speak disrespectfully of Dolly Parton and kind of criticize her every chance he got. And so what was fascinating was to learn through the podcast Dolly Parton's America, as the host interviewed Dolly Parton and they talked about the relationship with Porter Wagner. Dolly was incredibly forgiving of Porter Wagner. a kind of forgiveness. It's kind of breathtaking because after all that toxicity, after being sued by him, after having to pay him this huge kind of ransom to get free of him, as the years went on and Miss Parton's fame became even more and her success really escalated, Porter Wagner's declined and he got into financial difficulties. And Dolly came around and bailed him out. And even when the host of the podcast, Dolly Parton's America, kind of pressed her to try to criticize Porter Wagner, she said, look, that's a complex situation. He was a complex man and just would only speak kindly of him. It is even said that when Porter Wagner was dying, she was one of the last people to visit with him in the hospital. And there's just a generosity of spirit and forgiveness in Dolly Parton that I found deeply moving and certainly an example for all of us. You know, when someone treats us as badly as Porter Wagner treated her, it can be difficult to not only forgive, but to be so generous later in life as to help him and his family out of difficult financial situations. So Dolly Parton can be very inspiring. Not only the music she sings, which can lift our spirits and stir our souls, but the way she has lived life in various stories and incidences throughout the years. Anyway, I am enjoying learning a lot about Ms. Parton. Hope you are enjoying this series. Y'all have a good week. Hope to see you Sunday. Blessings.